it feels to rise from the ashes. I had to free myself again. This is how it feels to rise from the ashes. I had to be myself again. Yeah, cause I was out here lost, out here losing, cuts and bruises. I was into it all. I was out here lost, out here losing, cuts and bruises. I was into it all.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy King Leo, and I am back with another episode of A Voice of a Generation podcast. I hope you all enjoyed episode 1. The topic was loyalty. If you didn't get to check that out, I advise you and I encourage you to go check that out, give it a listen. But today we're going to talk on the topic of the world is yours. The world is yours. Now, oftentimes we don't realize that our words and our thoughts shape the world that we live in. Now, with this being said, we're going to learn today how we can better use our words and our thoughts to shape a better world and a better life for ourselves. There are 5 major points that I really want to talk on. And the first one being, number 1, we must understand the power that we possess. Yes, we possess a power, and we have to understand this. In Proverbs 18:20-21, it states, "A man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth. From the produce of his lips he shall be filled. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits." Now, we have to be careful of the words we use when speaking into our lives. Sometimes we say things and don't fully understand that as we are either speaking or thinking, that these things are actually forming and coming to life. That's why it states, "A man's stomach shall be satisfied from the fruit of his mouth, from the produce of his lips, he shall be filled." Meaning whatever you are speaking, whatever you are telling yourself, whatever you are leading yourself to believe, your life becomes full of those things. And that's why it is so important for us to understand the power behind the words that we choose to use on a daily basis, to understand the power in the words that we are speaking, or the things that we are saying to ourselves, or the things that we are saying about ourselves or about our lives. It is so important that we understand that, because if we better understand it, then we'll be able to use our words much wiser, and we'll be able to use our thoughts in such a better way to where we are not speaking death into our lives, because it says death and life are in the power of the tongue. But see, if you love your life, you're going to speak life into it. But if you hate your life, you're going to constantly speak negativity and death into it. And that is what that means. So it is important, again, that we understand what we are saying and what we are thinking. Now, even the smallest words hold tremendous power. Words like can't or if, especially when you are exercising faith. Saying a word like if, that means that there is doubt there. It's one thing to say I have faith in God, but then there's another thing to say, oh, I got faith in God, but I don't know if God can. It doesn't work like that. It's either you're going to completely trust God and you're going to have faith and you're going to speak and you're going to think positive things, or you're just going to doubt, or you're just not going to exercise your faith at all. But the smallest words, they hold tremendous power. Again, words like can't or if, hard. There's nothing too hard for God to do or for you to do. Impossible. The Bible says that with man, all things are impossible, but with God, all things are possible. So anytime God is a part of the equation, it's happening or it's already done. Impossible is not even a part of the picture when God is involved. Number 2, the world you see is the world you think. Now, in Philippians 4:8, it says, "Finally, brethren, wherever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of a good report, if there is any virtue, if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things." For a lot of us, we tend to live our lives in our head. I'm actually very guilty of this because I do this a lot. But I'm growing out of this by the grace of God, because it's not a good trait to have, and it's not a good thing to actually do, to live in your head. But 9 times out of 10, the thoughts that we are thinking are not good or beneficial to our lives. We have to learn to eliminate the negative thoughts so that the positive thoughts can flow. Because if we constantly allow ourselves to consume bad, 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 then we leave no room for anything good to reside in our mind. That's why it encourages us to think on things that are pure, things that are lovely, things that are of a good report. It says if there is anything that is praiseworthy, even you just waking up in the morning, that is something good to think about. God, wow, I'm grateful that you allowed me to wake up. I'm grateful that I have another day to see life, to get it right, to live, to be a light, to live to my fullest potential. We have to understand these things. But again, if we don't allow there to be room for anything good, then all we will consume again is all things bad. Now, if you want to live a better life, you must learn to live from a better mindset. And basically what I'm saying with that is just learn to flip the switch. Learn to flip the script. Learn to change how you think about yourself, about your life, about where you are right now in your life, about others around you, about things surrounding your life. Learn to change your mindset, and I promise you, you will begin to live a better life. We have to stop living from the excuse of, well, this is just how things are. No, that's not true, because things can always change, but change has to start with you. And a lot of us, we allow ourselves to fall into this mindset of, well, this is how things are, because we're afraid to think higher. We're afraid to think beyond our situation. We're afraid to see ourselves in a better light. So we settle for the excuses, and we allow ourselves to condemn ourselves and to beat ourselves up and to make ourselves feel bad. But God didn't give us this mindset. God didn't give us this mindset of fear to settle and to belittle ourselves. God gave us a mind to think highly of ourselves, not in a cocky way or in a prideful way, but in a humble way, knowing who your God is and knowing who you are and knowing the power again that you possess and the power that is at hand, that is working within you, and that is the power of Jesus Christ. We have to stop telling ourselves that life just isn't on my side. Again, this isn't even true. This isn't even true. The truth is that you aren't on your side. We do better at speaking against our lives than we do speaking for our lives. God said that his plans are to prosper us and to give us hope in a future. That alone lets us know that God and life is definitely on our side. So anytime you find yourself in a place where you're telling yourself this exact thought that life just isn't on my side or life isn't fair, life is fair. Life is on your side. God is on your side. He's waiting for you to get into your own corner. He's waiting for you to support yourself, to be a big fan of yourself, to start believing and thinking better of yourself. This is what life is waiting on. So stop telling yourself that you can't do it or you can't be. Yes, you can. You can grow. You can overcome. You can exceed expectation. Number 3, we have to know what we want out of life. A lot of us, we don't even know who we are or what we want. So we allow ourselves to just go with the flow of things. And this is not a good thing to do, because if you just allow yourselves to just go with the flow of things, then you don't know what you're going to allow yourself to flow into. And you can flow into something that can completely ruin your life. But the main thing is to know who you are and also whose you are. We don't believe that we are able to amount to anything great. So we constantly settle and become okay with receiving the lesser things that life has to offer. I no longer live my life in that way. I used to live my life in this mindset so much that I would settle for the lesser things because I was tired of waiting, or I didn't want to push myself, or I didn't want to see beyond where I was at. So I used to allow myself to settle. But then I told myself no more, because if God said that I can have abundance, if God said that I am blessed beyond my circumstances, if God says that life can get better for me, then why do I have to settle for something less than what God has destined for me to have? And this is what we have to learn about ourselves. If you want greater, you have to first believe that you can achieve greater. You have to believe in yourself. The problem isn't that other people don't believe in us. The problem isn't that our parents don't believe in us or that our peers don't believe in us. The problem is that we don't believe in who we are. The problem is that we don't believe in who God has called us to be or who God has said we can be. That's the main problem. Nobody can want something for you more than you want it for yourself. So in order for you to have it, you have to first want it. You have to know that God didn't create you to be less than, but he made us all to be greater than. God didn't just create us to make us to be the least. He said you are above and not beneath. You are the head and not the tail. You are the lender and not the borrower. God put you in the greater than category. We are the ones that took ourselves out of that category and put ourselves in the lesser than. But God said that we are greater than. So you have to know that you are greater than your circumstances, greater than what you tell yourself, greater than how you make yourself feel. The more you learn who you are in God and in this world, the better you become at shaping your world. When you get a grip on what you want and who you are and where you want to go, then your mind begins to become more framed in that aspect of this is where I want to be. So I'm going to begin to shape my mind to make myself believe and to push myself to get to where I really want to be. And this is how your life begins to get better. You begin to think higher, you dream higher, you believe higher, you reach higher, you achieve higher. So get to know yourself, because overall, the thoughts that you think are attached to the way that you view yourself. And they can only change when you begin to view yourself in a better light. Number 4, shaping your world isn't only about you. You have to understand this. Shaping your world isn't only about you. As the saying goes, the decisions and the choices you make don't only affect your life, but the lives around you. I began to actually see this become true and to learn this in my life. I remember the first time I actually got in trouble with the law. I was around like 21, I believe. And I saw how it didn't only affect me because I thought I was going through it. I thought that I was scared. I thought that, I was about to face whatever, I thought I was going to face. But thank God that I didn't have to face what I thought I was going to face. But I started to see how it didn't only affect me, but it affected my mother, because now she has to worry about her child. Now she has to worry about her child potentially being locked up or being in the system, or, going down the same path or the same journey that my father took. You know what I mean? So I began to look at that and I started to see like, I have to be better, because not only does my life affect me personally, but it affects those that are around me. So again, the decisions and the choices you make don't only affect your life, but the lives around you. For majority of us, we want to be married and we want to build a family. I know I do. So what we have to realize that the life we are building now is the life that our family will have to deal with later. So you are basically setting the edge. You're setting the tone. So whenever you are speaking things over your life, never forget that these things can become generational. You can begin to speak things now that will not only affect you now, but then they will affect your children later. And then they will go on to affect your children's children. And then it will keep going on, and it will be a cycle, because you created this. You set the bar for your legacy. What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want your kids' life to be like? What do you want your future to be like? Think of that and begin to plan for that. Begin to live accordingly for that. Living from this mindset, it trains us to think far beyond just ourselves. It trains us to consider our future. And hopefully in doing so, we begin to adjust our words, our thoughts, our actions, and our energy. And I know that that's something that I had to do when I began to think beyond myself. And a lot of us, we need to start thinking beyond ourselves, because it is more than just about us. Number 5, there's a better you on the other side. There's a better version of who you are right now waiting on you just to tap into it. It's hard for us sometimes to believe that we can ever reach a better place or live a better life. The reason why is because we limit ourselves before we ever allow ourselves the chance to grow. I encourage you right now to stop limiting yourself. Stop holding yourself back from who you are in this life, from who you are in this world. Stop holding yourself back from being all that you can be. Stop limiting who God has said you are. Allow yourself to enjoy life. Allow yourself, to live life to its fullest. Enjoy it. Reach your highest potential in life. Allow yourself this opportunity. And a lot of times we rob ourselves of these opportunities because we feel that we made such bad mistakes, or we messed up, or we did this, or this is holding us back, or my life was this, or my generation before me was this, or my dad was this, or my mom was that. That has nothing to do with it. You start your story today. You start your journey today. Stop living from who came before you. Stop living off of who made choices or bad decisions before you. This is your life. You have to allow yourself this chance to grow. We make ourselves believe that this is just who I am, when we are so much more. Stop telling yourself that I am my mistakes. Stop telling yourself that I am my mess up. Stop feeding yourself these lies. Stop allowing yourself to constantly think on these things. Forgive yourself and move on. If God can forgive us and then throw what we have done in the sea of forgetfulness, why can't we do the same thing when it comes to self? Why do we have to constantly beat ourselves up and make ourselves feel bad? This is what keeps us in a place of thinking negative and speaking negatively about our lives. We tell ourselves that it is not possible to be happy every day or to always think happy thoughts. The truth is that it is very, very possible. People always ask me, whether I'm at work or whether I'm out, especially in the morning, bro, how you got so much dang on energy? Look, I'm high off life. Jesus is good. Life is good. That energy that I know that I want is what I choose to display. So yes, I'm not going to come into a place, or I'm not going to come into an atmosphere with a negative energy, and that's not what I want. No, I'm going to come into an atmosphere and I'm going to bring light. I'm going to bring joy. I'm going to bring excitement and laughter, because that's what I want reciprocated. So that's what I'm going to bring in with me. But we always tell ourselves this, and I've heard people say that it's not possible. Bro, I try to exhibit that every single day. You can look at my Instagram and you can tell every single day I choose to be happy. Every single day I choose to think happy thoughts. And this is where it begins. You have to choose it. It's a choice. You just have to stop telling yourself it's not. You also have to allow yourself to practice being more positive and thinking better thoughts. Whatever you practice long enough is eventually what you will become. That's why they say practice makes perfect. So if you constantly practice waking up every day telling yourself that today's going to be a good day, that I'm going to enjoy today, that I'm going to have peace, peace, love, joy, happiness. If you tell yourself and you practice these things, if you practice speaking good into your life every single day, I promise you that it's going to become so natural that you're just going to wake up and you're going to begin to do it without even thinking about it. Your better version is just waiting for an opportunity to come forth. And it's up to you to invite it forth. Let it go. Break free, break open. Allow yourself this opportunity to begin to shape a better world with your thoughts, with your words, and with your actions. Because again, you're not living just for you. You're living for your kids and your kids' kids. And you set the bar today. The world is yours. The world is yours. I'm King Leo, and this is a Voice of a Generation podcast. Until next time, I'm out.